All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Will Steele. I'm one of the consultants here at IBIS for the AX team. And today we're going to spend a few minutes here looking at some of the new BI reporting additions that have been made in the AX 2012 R2 release. This is going to be a high-level overview, not delving too much into the technical changes around some of the cubes and how they're implemented. So keep that in mind, because again, I'm a functional guy, not a technical guy. So starting off, we're going to have overall improvements to R2. Kind of identified three key themes of improvement in R2. Recognize that Microsoft figured out that users want to analyze data from other sources outside of AX. Lots of companies have, access databases on the side, or, other services they use that they need to pull data from. So Microsoft has now tried to accommodate for that. They've been looking for increased user functionality and access to BI reporting tools without having to rely on technical resources. Lots of times on previous projects I've been on, users coming especially from legacy systems have BI reporting requirements, and transitioning them into AX not only is one difficult, it's time consuming and expensive. To only have users go back and, well, actually we needed these separate fields and dimensions in cubes, and then having to go back and rework the whole solution. So, long story short, Microsoft has tried to take that into consideration and have additional functionality regarding some of the functionality, especially surrounding cubes and pulling data into and from cubes. And again, at the very end here, I'm going to talk about addition of more tools in R2 that allow more flexibility around BI and reporting. This is just stuff that Microsoft has decided they're going to throw in there that gives you more content, more options. So I'll explain that more as we get a little further into the webinar here. So to start with, my first theme, data. So if you want to just kind of look at it from a high-level perspective, like I said, you got general types of data. You have individual data, you have organizational data, and then you have, which will be inside your company, and then you have sort of community data and world data, which is, looking at anything out there, whether it's U.S., town, industry-wide, or, worldwide in some of those respects as well. So again, individual data and organizational data is internal data, so you're looking at data from like AX or potentially other sources, feeds, web content, other access databases, stuff like that. And then community to world data, again, it can fall into some of those same categories, obviously not AX, but external sources or lists or web pages. So you get the most value from your reporting and BI when you're able to take all these different sets of data, and if you want to be able to compare them and then present them in ways that are most effective to people looking at it. So this is our end goal here. Taking all this stuff and being able to have it looked at in functional ways. So I just sort of created a nice diagram here to give you guys an idea. So you could have stuff kept in access databases for the company, and then you've got AX data, and maybe, pull in U.S. Census data, and then worldwide web data, and then you can combine them up here and slice and dice it, looking at different ways you might want to. So for the example I was kind of thinking of, you could look internally at your sales orders. You could divide that up by, location. Then you could use an external data maybe to look at population based on those locations. And then pull up a nice map from Bing, so then you could present this really cool looking map with sales orders broken down by areas that have the highest population from your AX database. Again, just kind of thinking an example off the top of my head that companies might want to look at, and now in R2 you could actually do that. So in order to add these additional sources into what we're going to use for PowerView and PowerPivot, this is the Excel 2010 version. 2012 obviously be preferred, but here's what they look like. You can go in here and add them from other sources in the Data tab. And then you have your Dynamics AX tab here, which you use your connection here to connect to your AOS in AX. So I actually have one of our internal images here available up front. Please bear with me. The image is a little slow. So again, here's our data sources we could add to, and here's our AX. If we go in here, we can add data from AX. Oops. So the add data functionality is there in order to add sources from AX. All right, so that's that. The other issue that can arise with AX is if you have multiple companies in a singular environment of AX that span across different continents, which may have different internal dimensions or data sets there as well. If you're trying to pull in data or reporting across multiple companies, you could have a varying in dimensions and data. Well, not to get too technical, but R2 can solve that problem. It gives you the ability to, when you're building these BI reports and you're looking at them, you can select the individual dimensions you want to employ with those reports. So, heads up there, just answering your question before you ask it. So moving on to who needs the technical. So again, more information, less technical time. R2 provides the users to have more flexibility with reporting rather than relying on technical resources to adjust and continually update data and requirements. So in order to try to use my really slow image as little as possible, guys, we got a nice screenshot of the new green Analyze Data button there, which by clicking that will open up a PowerView screen in a web browser for you to work with. Well, hold on, time out. What is PowerView? If you're not familiar with it, PowerView provides intuitive ad hoc reporting for business users such as data analysts, information workers, all that good stuff. They can easily create and interact with views of data from data models based on PowerPivot workbooks or tabular models deployed to SQL Server 2012 analysis services. PowerView is browser-based, Silverlight application launched from SharePoint 2010. Again, I included a little link there. That's the link to talking more about exactly what PowerView is, if that simple summation isn't quite enough. And I referenced PowerPivot in my previous definition, so I felt it was only fair to define PowerPivot as well. It's a free add-on 2010 version of Excel. It extends the capabilities of pivot table data summarization and cross-tabulation feature by introducing the ability to import data from multiple sources, which I talked about a little bit ago. As such, it's fallen under BI offering, complementing it with its self-service and in-memory capabilities, aka PowerPivot plus PowerView is awesome. And yeah, that's a Wikipedia definition because Microsoft's was terrible and confusing. So once you click the PowerView from, this is the PowerView from the Analyze button. And as you can see, I'm going to switch back in a minute so I can actually do it from my internal image. But for the benefit of you out there, you can see that this is, again, in a browser because it's from Silverlight. And this is the PowerView. You can see my options to create my, you can see my options over here to employ in my pivot table. And then as you're creating it, you can see the filters that you've got here, and then it will generate the image here. All right. So I will hop into my image here. Again, I was talking about customers earlier, so I guess I'll go back and look at my customers again. So I now have my Reporting Analyze Data button. Once I click this, again, it launches a browser with PowerView. Not surprisingly fast. And this is my PowerView where I can, again, add different fields I want simply by checking. The box is here under my active field list, and then again it's going to create my tables here. One of the important functionalities to remember here is if you spend time and created some great looking data and information sets here, you do have the ability to save these as a PowerView and then redeploy them in your home pages and role centers. So again, this creates a highly customizable way to deploy your BI and reporting solutions to the needs of individual users or departments or power users such as CEO, CFO, CIO role. To give them quick displays, to provide them information. So I'm not going to save one because that was just garbage that I was clicking on. And again, you have really great options up here to deploy them in different visualizations to make them most effective. So again, all of that came from my Analyze Data button. In my AX 2012 R2. All right, so I'm going to try to hop back to my slideshow now. And I will add one of those to the role center here at the end while I let my image update itself. So again, just a couple points here at the end to talk about some of the new tools that have been added. They now have 15 preloaded cubes with the R2 release. And again, if you want to work with these cubes or add these cubes or modify them, they're easily accessed in the AOT. They're all located in a singular folder. Again, if you want to get technical, there's some great resources out there from Convergence, but be aware that that's the option. Added ways to visualize BI in the role center. Again, we were talking about the custom display of the PowerView tables there. There are new and added role centers for R2 as well as additional KPIs out of the box. Also in the role centers, and I'll try to demonstrate here in a second, you have the ability to drill down further into the displayed KPIs and reports to try to, again, display more of the BI information you need more quickly and easily for your users. And again, just to bring it back, the ad hoc analysis tools, you have that PowerView option to work right there with that data from that module in AX. And again, when working with that, you have the option of bringing in additional sources, data sources in Excel. So I'm going to see what my image is doing. Okay, we're back again. So again, going and looking at one of these home pages, you can see you have the ability on some of these KPIs to drill down a little bit further, these drop downs, and on these nice new charts and graphs here, they're interactive, so you can either click on the chart itself to look at that specific set, or you can click over here to highlight it across the chart. If I want to add one of the, I talked about adding one of the power views that I created, I simply can go to personalizing this page, adding a new web part, and as you can see now, there are specific web parts that are now based upon those PowerView pivot tables that we've created. So as you can see down here, I've already got one. Here, I can edit my web part, and again, in editing your web part, this is where you can find previous queries or previous pivot tables that you've created, and then add them here so they have that display functionality and the interactive functionality that is displayed with some of the ones already out of the box. So again, you can come over here. Again, my image is struggling to keep up with the pace I want to go. Can select my report here. PowerView reports. And here are a list of some of the out-of-the-box PowerView reports you can see. I created one earlier, so you can see that the one I saved is now here. If I select that and click OK, it will now deploy in its own web part. Some of the times with these web parts, you'll need to actually adjust the fixed height and width to make sure all of the relevant parameters are displayed. So keep that in mind if you're messing with this. And then you're ready to rock and roll with your new created PowerView addition to your role center. Okay, well that was my quick, high-level, important stuff that you need to know. Overview of BI and the additions in R2. If you have technical questions, the last slide on my PowerPoint is my email address. Please feel free to shoot me any questions, and I'll get you back with a much more detailed response as to how all of these great new functions work. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day.